Welcome to Affording College with Aaron Green, founder and president of College Liftoff.
Thanks, Deep Throated Guy. So, I never ever want to grow up. This is something that we perceive, that we hear from the millennial generation over and over again. Just about them being lazy, irresponsible, it's very snowflakey, all those things. So I've been reading a bunch of articles about millennials, and these are young adults in this country born between the early 80s and into the 90s. They're in their 20s and 30s right now, and they're still living at home with their parents. In fact, some states are reporting that about 40% of American young adults are still living with their parents. Reasons cited: rising rent. Everyone's always complaining about that. That's nothing new. Mortgage lending regulations, which is absolutely true. It's become a lot more stricter, thankfully, since the subprime mortgage crisis about 10 years ago. But what's striking in all of this that isn't cited is that college has risen 600% in the last 10 to 12 years. 600%. 1,100%, actually a little bit more than that, in the past 35 years. And yet wages haven't risen accordingly. In fact, they're nowhere close to that. In fact, let's talk about stuff in this country. Let's just talk about the things we live and breathe and buy and work on every day. Food, easy example. Food has gone up about 200% in 35 years. The Consumer Price Index, just a little bit north of that, about 250%. Housing has gone up 400% in that time frame. Healthcare. We talk about healthcare ad nauseum in this country. It's gone up 600% in 35 years. College has nearly doubled that. It's gone up right under 1,200%. And this despite the number of millennials who have more than one degree and are qualified for more than one job, to say the least. But do they? Do they have the qualifications for the workforce after coming out of college? Do these degrees really line them up? Many people seem to think so, but looking at the stagnant economy and looking at jobs, despite the fact that more young adults are educated in this generation more than in the history of our country, actually, that doesn't seem to look like it's connecting. Others blame younger special snowflakes and the simple lack of competence in this country. But the truth is, these degrees are a big part of the problem. College degrees are kind of part of the issue. Part of the reason the economy is stagnant, jobs seem scarce, is because the degrees themselves don't line up to what the reality of the workforce actually needs. What happened in this previous recession? Many people flocked back to education to hopefully bolster their efforts into being able to get a job, thinking a degree is going to solve my job problem. So they went back, got English degrees, got just bachelor's degrees in general. But the problem was it flooded the market with bachelor's degrees. So higher education just for the sake of education doesn't work. And that's the problem we're in today, is that if I'm honest about it, I would even say a bachelor's degree in a lot of cases, in fact, the majority of cases, is really a glorified trade degree, depending on what you really want to do. As a result of this, and students not following and looking at it from this perspective, we're getting more students that are unemployed, underemployed, but they spend an astronomical amount to get these degrees, which don't have the pay scales that match the real workforce, and thus not able to pay off student loan debt. The average student loan debt amount per month today is $350 per month. That's what the average is. Without a job, or with one at the entry level, this is a tough way to go in this country. Being able to live, get out, buy homes, start families, it's not really reality, to be honest about it. In fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday who has $1,000 a month student loan payment, and he'll be doing that until he's 32. There's his mortgage. Right there. That's your house for that time. That's starting a family, truth be told. So it's no surprise that millennials aren't entering the housing market. Really, how could they? These are more than capable adults who truthfully couldn't and shouldn't be able to obtain home loans while walking around with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt strapped to their backs. We wouldn't let anybody else with credit card debt of that size being able to get a house. Well, the truth is debt is debt, so we have to kind of look at it that way. And for some, it's just easier to blame the younger generations for being slackers, that can't do snowflakes, wanting to put off adulthood, all those things. But truthfully, the numbers don't lie here, folks. They just don't lie, and in the end, they don't add up. So instead of name calling, instead of looking at this and pointing fingers. What we should really be doing here is, as a society, start considering why we continue to encourage young people just to pursue degrees, just for the sake of it. Saying, well, my kid needs to go to an Ivy, or my kid needs to go to Vanderbilt, or anything like that, for the sake of it. And let's actually start measuring the value of what these schools are giving us. Because given the impact on our markets and our economy, isn't it time to rethink that? Isn't it time to really start looking at how to line this up? Again, I say this all the time. Anytime anyone walks up to you and says you need to spend upwards of $20,000 to $60,000 a year on something, you better believe they mean business. You've got to mean it back. So let's measure what the output looks like for these particular schools and see what the students actually are interested in. Let's not forget that part.
College Liftoff can help empower you to make college affordable for your student. If you want to learn more about your options, Aaron will be responding directly to your emails. Email him a question at aaron@collegeliftoff.com. Thanks for listening to Affording College with Aaron Green of College Liftoff. If you'd like more information, visit collegeliftoff.com.
Circle270media.com